Back to part 2 of my video tutorial series on how to make your own custom zombies map. Now in part 1 I showed you guys how to work Radiant, and in this video we're going to open up Script Placer. It's right over here. Double click on that, show it some love, give it the pound, even though it's a zombie hand. Alright, so double click on that, let it load up. Come on hamster, wake up. There you go. Alright, now let's go over to simplistic mode because we're not going to be using all the other features. Just to shrink it down, keep it simple, nice and simple. All right, now let's make a map name. Let's call it Call of Duty. That sounds good. All right, Call of Dookie. Call of Duty. Now we're gonna leave it on setup. I'm gonna show you guys why. I mean, we can normally just pick a blank map, but there's a different way of doing it on setup map also. So we're gonna hit generate, and it generated the files for us. Now let's close this out. Open up Radiant. And there we go. Now we're going to go over to File. We're going to go to Open. Of course, we're going to open up the file that's in map source. It should direct you right to that directory. Now, here it is, Call of Duty.map. You don't want the one that says patch map. You want the one that says Call of Duty.map. So double click on that, and there you go. Now, this is the setup mode where it has a room set up for you. It doesn't have any textures. It's basically cluttered with a whole bunch of stuff. If you're new, you don't know what all this is. So we're going to delete everything. We're going to start off from scratch anyway. So hit I. When you press I, it actually selects everything for you. Everything that's in the map. So press I. It highlights everything. We're going to hit backspace and delete it all. All right. Now we're going to drag out a floor. I remember I like going 4 and 4, 4 and 4, 4, 4, 4. Connect 4. All right. So drag out a box right there. That's 4 down, 4 across. Same thing on the other side. And on this side too. And there we have it. Now, make sure you click on the cock texture. That way it'll start off with that texture automatically. That way we can start texturing it later. We just want to get everything done. Now, make sure the floor is under the blue. Press escape. Now we're going to drag out a wall. So go to the end of it. Drag a box down. If you move over, you see it right there. Now, instead of pressing escape and doing another one, we could just hit spacebar and it'll copy it and just move it over to the other end. There it is right there. Let me go to this angle. Now, on the 2D window, right over here, hit Control Tab to change the view. Now, as you can see, we have one wall here, one wall there. Now we're going to put another one over here. Now, same thing, the lazy way. Hit spacebar. Hold shift, press the letter D, and it'll rotate it. So now you just move it over. Now, when you move it over, of course, you gotta shrink it down a little bit. Hit spacebar and move this piece down there. And there you go. A floor with 4 walls. All right, let's make a ceiling. So let's drag out a brush. Right now we're on the top view. Of course, it says top right over here. So we're gonna drag out another brush. Hit Control Tab. As you can see, it filled up the whole thing. We don't want that. Just move it up. And press escape. Let's move down. And there you go. Now we have a room. Now, let's actually make some windows. So I'm going to select this wall. Hold shift, left click. Actually, click this window and the one right across from it. You can see they're both 1 and 2. Now we're going to zoom in a little bit. As you can see right in the middle, just go 4 boxes away from each side. So in order for us to cut it, we're going to be using the cut tool. Press X and then 1 dot here, 1 dot there. Hold shift, press enter, and 1 dot here, 1 dot there, shift enter. There's 4 boxes on each side, 8 altogether. right in the middle. Now, if you zoom in on the other one, we've actually cut on both faces, well, both brushes. And that's why I actually selected both of them, because they're right across from each other, so it'll cut it up for us. Press escape and select the middle one. Try to find it. There you go. See, we have these two selected. Press backspace to delete it, and there you go. Now we have an opening to put up a zombie window. Now let's do the same thing for the other sides. Click on that one, click on this one, hit Control Tab. That will change the view. There you go. Press X. Remember, that's the cut tool. One here, one there. Shift Enter. And one here, one there. Shift Enter. Remember, 4 boxes out, each one. That's going to be the perfect size for the window we're going to be putting in. Press Escape so you don't have everything selected. Just select the part where you cut open. Well, at least the box that you made. Press Backspace, and there we have it. We have 4 empty spots to put in a window. All right, now for the good part, to put in a window. Now, go to the top view. Well, it doesn't matter what view you have it on. Right click, go over to MISC, go to Prefab, and then if you scroll down, there's going to be one in zombie mode. It's going to be called Atom Zombie Barrier. Now, we're not going to be using this one. This is actually a custom window. Double click on it so I can show you. Press escape so you can see it. And there you go. That's actually a window you can put up on your wall. Now, it's not really aligned. It's kind of like made sloppy. So we're not going to be using that one. I actually have a custom prefab for you guys. So we're going to do the same thing. Right click, go over to MISC, go to prefab. And then once you go to that, it's going to leave you in map source. So you want to go over to prefabs. And then if you scroll around, well, once I give you the folder, you're going to have this folder in there. It's going to say Uptown's Prefabs. Best shit on earth. Now, I actually have a bunch of prefabs, so you can actually start making your map as fast as possible. Now, the one you want to pick is the one called Uptown's Zombie Barrier. This is my custom one. I actually lined up everything and made it look nice and spiffy so you guys could get all teary-eyed and make your map. So double click on that, and there it is. Now, the reason I made my own custom one is because you know how we cut open 4 boxes across? It's actually going to line up perfectly. So move it there. Wait, do I have 4 on each side? Yes, I do. It's perfect. All right. So as you can see, it lined up perfectly. We're just going to move it down. Now, if you don't have this little handle tool right here, you see how it has this little green and blue handle that says Z and Y. If you don't have that, go over to Edit and go over to Preferences. And it should say it Manipulator Handles right over here. So just make sure you have that checked. That way the handle will pop up. So make sure it's checked, press OK, and a little handle will show up every time you want to move something around in the 3D window. So now that we have that, remember we're on grid 8. That's these amount of boxes. So we're going to move it down just a little bit. 2, 3, lined up perfectly with the floor. Hit Control Tab to make sure. And there it is. Now, whenever you put in a zombie window, you want to make sure the arrows are pointing inward, because that's going to it's going to basically let you know that the zombies are going to be coming in through this direction. So you always want the arrows pointing inward. Press escape, and there we have it. There's our zombie window. Now we're going to copy this and put it on each of the other 3 sides. So we're going to hit Shift, left click, hit spacebar to copy it, drag it over. Let's put it over here. Hold Shift, press D so you rotate it, and line it up. There you go. Now the ends of the wall are actually not this line, but this line. So if you look at it, you see it's lined up perfectly. And we already lined it up with the floor, so you don't have to move it up or down. Press escape. There it is. Now let's do it again. Spacebar to copy it. Hold Shift, press D, to rotate it. Let's pop it over here. Hit spacebar again, Shift D, and we'll put it right over here. And press escape, and there you have it. You have 4 windows. Now, let's make a little path for the zombies to be coming in through. That way it looks nice. You know, because I say 65 to 50% of the time you're playing a zombies map, you're going to be looking inward towards the windows to catch the zombies before they even come out. So we're going to make a little room on the outside. Right now we're on the top view. I'm going to drag out a brush. I'm going to go 4 boxes down. Hit Control Tab, make sure it's lined up. It's the beginning of the floor and at the end of it, at the end of the top. Hit Control Tab again so you can switch it back. Hit spacebar and just put one on this side. So as you can see at the end of these 2 boxes, at the line, there's a wall starting. Press escape. Now, as you can see, that is not the side. Okay, this is the side. So we have 2 walls right here. Alright, so one of the walls, drag it out a little bit further. Actually, let's go 2 boxes out. Press escape. Let's drag another 2 boxes down. Well, 4 boxes down. And let's do another one right over here. Escape. Now when you see it, it's a little hallway. Now let's make a floor for this hallway. So we're gonna start dragging it out through here. Right there. Hit Control Tab. Put it down to the floor, right under the blue. That way you see where the floor starts. Press escape. Hit Control Tab again. Go back over here. Let's drag one out on this side. And press escape. And there we go. Now, let's say if you want to hide this so you can see inside of it. Hold Shift, click on it, and press H to hide it. That way you can see it. And there you go. Now it's a little hallway. Now let's texture this. Actually, we'll leave the texturing for the end. But let's actually make a ceiling. So we're going to click on the floor over here and over here. Hit Control Tab. Press spacebar. That way we can copy it and let's just move it up to the top. There you have it. Press escape and there you go. Everything's all covered up. And don't worry about making a wall for the ends because you're not going to be seeing that. You know, the only thing you're going to be seeing is zombies coming in through this little hallway. So hold Shift and press H to put the window back. That way it'll unhide whatever you have hidden when you press H. Shift H to unhide it. H to hide. And there you go. All right, now let's select everything. Everything is selected. Oh, not that wall right here. Actually, you're not going to be seeing this either, but let's select it. Now, hit spacebar. Let's move it over. Hit Shift D. And let's put it back in the same spot, but just on the other window. So we have another one. And same thing. Hit spacebar to copy it. Press Shift D. Now remember, always drag it in the middle of it. Like, don't drag on the outer sides because you're going to deform it. Back up a little bit. Zoom in. There we go. Hit spacebar. Shift D. And we're going to move it in over here. As you can see, it's not intersecting with the brush there. It's just right outside the window. And press escape, and there we have it. Now, when we go inside the room, we can hide these. Press H to hide them. And you can see we have hallways for all the zombie windows. It's perfect. All right, cool. Now, let's start texturing this. So we're going to select the floor. Hold Control and Shift. That way we'll just select the faces. Click that one, this one, that one, this one. You know, everything that's the floor. That one, this one. Now that we have all of the faces of the floor selected, let's pick out a texture. Go over to textures, usage, and let's go to floor. Click on that. Scroll around, look for a texture you like. Could be any of these textures. Doesn't have to be the one that I pick. Whatever you guys like. So let's pick this one. Press escape, and there you go. Now the floor has the texture. Now let's pick a texture for the walls. Same thing, hold Control and Shift, left click, select the walls. You don't have to texture this one because you really can't see it. So I'm not going to do that one. Oop. Just the walls that are visible. Those. And let's pick a floor wall texture now that we have everything selected. So back over to textures, usage, interior wall, and let's pick out a texture. Let's see. Now, if you guys ever hear that little ringing sound, that's actually Radiant saving the changes. It does it like every 10 minutes. If you want to just change that, go over to Edit, go to Preferences, and it's right over here. Auto save every 5 minutes. Ooh. All right, we're going to change that to 10 minutes because I'm getting tired of hearing that. And let's go back to looking for a texture. We can pick this one. It's not bad. Press escape. Actually, no, everybody does this damn texture. I hate it. Hold Control and Z if you want to go back to what you did before and you had them all selected. And that's... Oh, it looks like a zombie sign. Nazis. Who would have known? Alright, let's pick... I don't know why I'm getting picky with this part. Let's see... Yeah, that one's cool. Press escape, and there we go. Now, let's put the windows back. Hold shift, press H, and it'll unhide it. Now we're actually going to texture the windows. Now, by default, the windows are going to be coming with this texture on it because it hasn't been stamped. There's no way of modifying this window. If you click on it, you see that everything gets selected. Now, if you want to modify it, you have to hit the stamp tool. This tool we're going to be using a lot, so try to remember this one. Now, with the item selected, hit stamp and press escape. Now you can actually select individual faces or different parts of it. So what we want to do is select the outer faces of this color right over here. So we're going to hold Control and Shift, left click, click that one, and this one. Not this because, you know, that's the edging for the window. So now that we have that selected, press U for usage. That's going to show up the textures you're using. So of course this is the texture we're using for the walls. So we're going to click on that, press escape, and there you go. Now it looks perfect. Now let's do it to the other ones. Hold shift, left click, stamp it, press escape, hold Control and Shift, left click to select the parts you want to color. Click on that, and there you go. Same thing, hold shift, left click, stamp it, press escape, Control and Shift to select the face only. I mean, you can select the whole brush, but why are you going to color the outside if you can't see it? Might as well just do the inner faces. So we're going to Control and Shift, left click, select those, do that, and do it for the last one. Stamp it, Control and Shift, left click, and there we have it. Now we have the walls textured, the floor, the inner walls. Now we have to do the ceiling. So let's click on that. Click on these two. And let's pick out a ceiling texture. Textures, usage, ceiling. And let's pick out something we like. Let's pick Berlin ceiling paint peel. Pick that one. And there we go. Now the top is textured. Okay. All right, now that we have the room already set up, with the textures, we got the windows in, we got the little paths for the zombies to come in through, we have the floor textured, we have the ceiling textured. I guess we could actually compile this and see how it looks in game. So, of course, you want to have a little spawn for the player to show up. If you don't put this, you're not going to end up in the game. So you want to go over to right click, go over to info, player, start, and that's going to be the spawn for you, for yourself as the player. Want to make sure you bump it down. Make sure it's not inside the floor, just right above the floor. Don't actually have it aligned with the floor, like just a little bit above it. Press escape. That's the player spawn. Now we're going to put in some lights. Go right click, go over to light, put that in the middle, hit control tab, move it up. Now press N for entity. That's going to show you the information for this light. Now you want to click on radius, that way it'll show up over here. Under key, it'll say radius, and it'll have value at 200. Now 200 is the distance of how far the light will go. So we want to change this so we don't have to put in a whole bunch of lights. We're going to change that to 700. And press enter. That way it shows up over here. Of course, when you enter it here, it shows up over here. So as you can see, the radius got blown up dramatically. Press escape. We already have the light. Now we want to have a refraction probe. I have trouble saying that. So we want to have something that's good for the reflections. Click on right click, and a little bit further down from light, you'll see refraction probe. Click on that. Zoom in, put it in the middle of it. It doesn't actually have to be in the middle of it, but you always want to have it in the center of the room, because each side, each face of the probe, it's actually going to take a picture and it's going to help render out the light. So make sure it's not inside the light. You want to put it above it or under it. So hit Control Tab, just change the view. As you can see, it's cool right there. It's right above it. It's not inside of it. If you do it inside of it, it's going to give you some errors and you're not going to be a happy camper. So press escape. We have that covered. And let's compile the map. So let's save the project. Go over to File, hit Save, because right now it's under Call of Duty.map. So you want to just hit click, File, Save. Not Save As, because you're going to be saving it under something else if you do that. So hit File, hit Save. You hear that little sound, that means it saved it. Let's close this out. And now let's go over to Launcher. Load that up. There it is. Now, in order to compile your map, you want to look for, you're under compile level. This is the beginning stages of it. So you go to, actually, let's go over to mods first. Always do the mod first. So you're going to see mod, and then it's going to have a selection bar. Click on that. Go over to what we called it. What did we call this? We called it Call of Duty. There it is. Now make sure you have everything checked except for mod CSV. I mean, you can check that one also. Make sure everything's selected, because this is what's gonna help compile your map. This is gonna be the mod folder. And right now we're gonna click on build mod FF fast files and build IWD file. So we're gonna have those two checked. Make sure you click the name of your map and you click on build mod. Click on that. Let this little process over here finish. You know, you can tell that it started off because there's a little timer right over here on how long it's taking. And of course, you can't really click on any of this stuff once you start it. So let that finish. It's probably going to take about a minute, maybe less. You know, this is the first time we've done it, so of course it's going to take like a few. But we're that much closer to checking out our map and seeing how it is. Okay, bow, it finished. Now go over to compile level. Now, of course, we have two files, Call of Duty and Call of Duty patch. Now, you want to build the patch file. So select patch. Make sure build fast files is checked, only one. And of course, the mod specific map under Call of Duty, and hit compile to build the patch file. There it is, it's done. Now we're going to go over to Call of Duty, the regular one, and make sure it's under Call of Duty. Of course, you always want it to be set to your mod. And we're going to have compile BSP, compile lights, connect paths, connect reflections, and build fast files. So 1, 2, skip the third, 3, 4, and 5. And actually we can have run map after compile. That way you can load up the map once it's done. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with compile map after. So hit compile level, click on that. It's going to pop up a little screen where it's going to render everything that's inside of your map. Just give it a few seconds. Of course, you're going to need to have Steam on. That way you can get access to the World at War. And as you can see, there's little photos. That was the reflection probes doing its thing. Now it's actually putting your map together. So just give it a few seconds. Actually, like maybe a minute or two. And we're going to be in some zombies goodness. Well, not zombies goodness because we don't have any zombies in there, but you know, we're going to be able to check out the map and walk around, see how it looks. Once it's done compiling, it's going to load up the map. There you go. It's loading. If you have a controller, turn it on.
Activision. Why don't someone go turn the power on?
And there you go. Now, the reason we're getting all this text up here is because we didn't put any zombies, we didn't put in a start zone. That we're going to cover in the next video, but, you know, just wanted to take a look at the map, see how it looks. Checking out the little hallway. We got to put in the light over there so it'll look nice. And there you have it. You know, you might see like some rainbow colors in there. That's because we didn't put in the light grid volume. But that we're going to take care of in the next video. Just wanted to give you guys a little preview of how it came out. And I should be able to hook you guys up for maybe tomorrow for the next video. Depending on when you're watching this, there might be a part 2 already. So if you guys like the video, hit that like button. And of course, subscribe, man, for future content. The more and more I get farther into the videos, I'm going to start coming out with a little bit more advanced stuff. For now, it's baby steps, but we're moving along pretty quickly, so it's going along good. So once again, guys, thank you, and be safe. Get out of here before the dogs show up.